everyone, this is Leslie from Just Less Creations. I'm so excited that you're back to watch another tutorial from our back to school series. Now every child needs to have a pencil with their paper, and since we've already done the paper cake pop tutorial, now we're going to conclude that one by putting in a pencil. We're going to do a little short stubby pencil so that it can go with our piece of paper in this series of our back to school cake pops. Let's get started. The first thing we need to do is get our cake pop dough. This is a beautiful vanilla pound cake. So we're going to go ahead and roll 2 balls to make our pencils. If you've been with me for a while, you know that 2 is 1, 1 is none. So if something goes wrong, we always like to have that extra one already on hand. There's number 2. Need a little bit more in there. That's not quite full. All right, so we're going to take our dough and we're going to just squish it, make sure we get all the air pockets out of it, and then we're going to just roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it while keeping that pressure on there until we feel it come together. All right, and then we're going to roll it backwards to make that nice round ball, nice and even. And then let's make our pencil. We're just going to roll it. Now I want a little stubby pencil, so I don't want to roll it too much. Okay, that looks about good. And then I just want to create a somewhat flat end for our eraser. Doesn't have to be perfect. I want it to look like the squared edges of the eraser have already been used. So it's a nice rounded part. All right, and then the front end I need to bring to a point. So I'm just going to use a finger width around the top, and I'm just going to roll it until I can bring it to a point. Okay, a little bit more. Okay, and then I'm just going to make sure it's pointed at the very tip. Kind of a crack in the dough. Must have pushed too hard there. So make sure you just push those cracks together if you have it. All right, and we'll leave that lay there. Let's do the other one real quick. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is add our lollipop stick here. So it's already been dipped once. So we're going to take just the tip, dip it in white, tap off the excess, and then from the eraser end, we're going to add our stick to that end. We're going to turn it clockwise as I push it in, and then I'm going to go backwards, a quarter of a turn. There's a crack in my dough right there, so I'm just going to kind of push it together because that's a spot where an air bubble will show up. All right, and then we're just going to wipe that excess off the bottom. Oops, I dug my finger into that. And we'll let it set up. Let's do the other one. All right, we'll go ahead and let these set up and let that chocolate start to dry and firm up on the inside of that cake pop. And in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and create the elements. So we're going to need the yellow for the outside paint on the pencil. We're going to need a pink eraser, and then we're going to put a black band that separates the two of them. So let's go ahead and put all the elements together. First thing we're going to need is an eraser. All right, so let's get some cornstarch because my fingers are warm and my chocolate will get tacky the more I work with it, and I don't want it to stick. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and use this just to roll out the rest of my finger marks. So it's nice and level. I don't need it too thin. I don't need it too fat. Okay, all right. Now the idea is to put like from the bottom 1/4 of an inch of eraser. So we're gonna create like 3/8 of an inch of modeling chocolate to cover this part after we've dipped it in our chocolate, and then roll it down towards the stick. So we need to start out with a straight line so we can apply that band for the eraser around the whole entire bottom part. So let's do that. Okay, let's get a straight edge off the bottom. All right, and I want to do probably a 1/4 of an inch for the actual look of the eraser. So I'm going to add just another 1/8 of an inch, so we'll make it 3/8 of an inch in width. And we'll cut that off. That way we can roll it to the underside. Let's do 2 of them. And I'm just going to put these here. I'm going to create a straight edge. So we can start with. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just something to start with that's not curved. Like that. Move these up here. All right, and the next thing we're going to do is the little band, the silver band or the metal band. We're going to make black, a black band that separates the pencil, the paint on the pencil, the wooden part, from the eraser part. All right, we're going to create a straight edge. All right, and I think I'm going to do about probably 3/16. That's probably wide enough. I don't, an 1/8 of an inch is going to be too small, and a 1/4 is going to be too big. So we're going to do just, yeah, that looks good. And we'll use that to separate it. That's going to look pretty good. Let's just do one more while we're here, just in case. All right, so we got that part. Now we're going to do the actual sides of our pencil. Of course, who can forget the yellow #2 pencils from school, right? Everybody had to have them. Now you can use mechanical pencils and pens. When I was in school, definitely not. Definitely not. You always had to have pencils, and you had to have extras. Get a nice straight edge going. All right, so if we use the pink for the 1/4 at the bottom, and then you add that here for the black line, which we'll put over top of between the yellow and the pink. So we're actually still looking at about, I'd say 1/2 of an inch. So let's do a 1/2 inch, but I want to show you something different. Instead of that straight line, I want to mark it off here, like just put little tick marks so I know where I need to run my line, but then I want to show you something different, because I'm always trying to introduce new things to you so you know different ways of doing different things. Now you could cut it straight and wrap it around, and it would be a nice straight edge, but see, I just put these little tick marks here because years ago I bought, it's a ribbon cutter, and it has this cute little, you know, geometric weave, if you will. And I'm going to use that because when you sharpen a pencil, it's not always even. You have these little tiny grooves, or where it just looks like, I wonder if it's going to stick. There we go. Let me hold that down a minute. And I'm just going to follow those little tick marks right up like this. And voila. We've got this edging that when we put it on up here, it'll look like we sharpened our pencil. Okay, so now we have our marks, and the only thing left we have to do is create the pencil point. And we'll just use a little bit here with the point at the top. Like so, and we will reshape it when we're ready to put it on, just to make sure it fits down over the side really nicely. We'll go ahead and dip our chocolate, our pencils in chocolate. And then we'll let it set up. All right, so I'm just putting it at a 45, and I'm spinning counterclockwise until the chocolate touched itself. And now I'm just going to tap off the excess. The chocolate is starting to firm up. It's starting to really cool down. I like my chocolate and my cake pop dough to be relatively the same temperature. And right now the chocolate in my pan is starting to cool, so it's not running off of my cake pop as quickly as what I'd like. It's starting to firm before it even hits the bottom, which is good. But then I have to help gravity by dropping off the excess chocolate on the bottom. Make sure you get those, all the bubbles out of your cake pop. All right, we'll let this sit and firm up. Let's go ahead and dip the second one. We will be back in just a few minutes after the chocolate has firmed up, and then we'll put the elements on, and we'll have this really cute little fat pencil stubby. We used to call them stubbies in school. So, all right, we'll be back in a few minutes. Hi guys, we're back. Our pencils have set up. Looks like the chocolate is really good to go. So we're going to go ahead and start adding elements. Let's get started. The first thing we want to do is we're going to add our pink eraser on the bottom. So let's flip it over because I want this side up, and we'll add some water to the back. So we're going to take it. Now remember, I want the pink to actually roll around the bottom, so I just want a little bit here to show the eraser on the side. I'm just going to let gravity do its thing till it comes around and captures itself. Now you can see right there is where it's at. I'm going to let it, I can see the edge. I don't know if you can see that right there, where the edge touches itself right there. And I'm just going to use my knife and cut right there at that edge. Oops, I got the cut in there. Let's fix that. right, we'll come back to that edge right in a minute. I just want to level it real good. And then I'm going to roll it around the bottom. Alright, let's come back to this edge and I'm going to push it together. And then I'm going to use my palette knife to actually create that straight edge. It's a little high there. And all I'm doing is trying to make sure it's kind of level the whole way around at the same spot on the cake pop. This side's still a little high. And then again, I'm just going to push it, continue to push it down on to the bottom of the cake pop. Doesn't have to reach the lollipop stick. If you have enough modeling chocolate to do that, if you rolled it kind of thick, you'll be able to do that. I just wanted to get enough so that you have the illusion that goes the whole way around. Alright guys, so this is what I had. And I wasn't really thinking about it earlier. I was thinking that the black strip would be in between, but I'm actually going to put the black strip on top of the pink and the yellow to cover up that seam. So that just created an issue where the yellow wasn't wide enough. So I still had a piece from earlier and I just created it bigger, wider this way. So we're going to go ahead and use this one instead. So let's pick up where we were. Just adding a little bit of water. Right, and let's see what we can do with this one. We're just going to butt it up against that pink. And then I'm just going to cut it right where that impress. I'm going to just impress that down a little bit so I know where the edges are. And then I'm just going to cut right there. Pull it up. And then seal the two sides together. Okay. Then I'm going to push this down here. Now it looks like our pencil has been sharpened. Right now I'm just smoothing between the pink and the yellow so that there's no bump. So when I put the black on there, it'll be nice and flat up against it. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and do the black. I'm just going to use it to be the separator. I almost made it, but you know what? It's chocolate, so if I take this and just push it between the two, there's enough give that it comes together, and that water just acts as glue. And I'm just going to flatten that edge. Okay, there we have our pencil. Now we're just going to give our pencil a little bit of lead. And that's what these little black things were. And we're just going to put that at the top, like so. And we're just going to push it down on to our cake pop until it kind of flows right into that point that we already had. And if it goes down further on one side than the other, that's perfect, because that's the way your pencil lead usually does. It's very uneven whenever you sharpen it. So there we have our pencil. The only thing left that we have to do is write number 2. Okay, so let's get our poppy paint. We don't need this paintbrush anymore. We'll get our poppy paint, we'll add a little bit of black on here, and we will write number 2. Just a drip. Okay. So we're going to go N. So there we are. We have our number 2 pencil for the back to school tutorial cake pop series. I am so excited about this cute little thing. We're going to put that right up against the paper and the chalkboard and all our crayons that we made. And we have a complete set of writing utensils for our back to school series. I'm so excited about this cute little thing. Now it's your turn. Now you need to go rewatch the video and push stop and play and keep up with me and do it and push your boundaries. Be creative, be outside the box, expand your horizon, and try them. Try them. Make sure that you're posting your pictures back in our group so that we can celebrate your win with you. We love you and thank you for joining us for our back to school series cake pop tutorials, and we will see you next time. Thanks. Today, won't you click the link to reserve your spot in my consultation schedule? Don't stress any longer. Let me help you get the breakthrough that you're looking for today.